Alright, Lesson 8, Putting Experiential Learning Model to Practice. Materials, PowerPoint, slide, poster, experiential learning model for a stick, skills, and fun. Supplies, books, tells the story of the activity palette over the fun of the arts and crafts, including large sheet of drawing paper, colored card, stock, other heavy paper, book covers, card, cord, yarn, string, ribbon, scissors, glue, fabric, and paper, pencils, markers, colored pencils, crayons, colored paper scraps. Opportunity to complete specific skill-a-thon tasks. Example, the skill-a-thon situation. Instructor of the necessary material with the dependent of the copy appendix. Lesson 8. Handout. Participant non-receiving 4-H 101 objectives. Participants in 4-H experimental learning activities describe characteristics, skill-a-thon, teaching method. Note. Instructor example, the situation specified in instruction located in appendix variety of the skill-a-thon that apply with a different learning style with visual, tactical, etc. Choose activity that require individual effort as well if the group solution skill-a-thons are best conducted with a facilitator at each of the site to assist participants. Time 1 hour and 30 minutes, depending upon the number of skill-a-thons. What to do before beginning the lesson? Set of the skill-a-thon stations. Ask the station's facilitator to acquaint themselves with the skill-a-thon guideline handout and the appendix. Prepare supply with a books to tell a story. Activity to make a book cut a strip of the 5 and a quarter by 17-inch paper. Each participant fold in these will form these books. Cut 2 pieces of 4 and a quarter by 5.5 card in stock heavy paper for each participant. These will form the front and back cover of the book. Make a sample book prior to the lesson. See book below specific instructions. In this last lesson, we will talk about the necessary use of the different teaching techniques over the appeal of the total learning style. We're going to participate sometimes with different techniques, but they are shared experiential learning. Introduce book to tell a story activity, showing them the sample book prior to the lesson, and tell the participants all of everyone making their own book. They may work together in small groups if they choose. We're going to start with a teacher-directed activity that would appeal to the youth would like to have the detailed direction. The activity is taken from the 4-H A Palette Fund of the Arts and Crafts curriculum graded K through 6. We're going to make an accordion book like one I have here that will be used to record information next activity. Give each participant one 5 and a quarter by 17-inch sheet paper to book page of the 2 cards, the stock page of the cover pages, fold along and stripped in half, open them and then fold each of the toward the centerfold in place of the edges of the centerfold at the crease. Open the sheet paper with the bending and the crease needed to form in the fan shape of the book. Give you the front and back and the 4 pages. Allow with the 15 minutes to participant to assemble the books. Now I would like to decorate with the 2 pieces of the cardstock paper that I will give you the front and back of your book. You may, whatever you have the station, decorate your book. Next, I want you to go ahead and with the fabric glue with the horizontal middle of the front cover, to lay with a piece of yarn over the glue line. Glue one end of the folded paper with the inside of the front cover to give the back cover to the other end of the folded paper. You can open the book like a accordion, tie the yarn around the book to close with congratulations, you have completed the book. Show the parent PowerPoint slide on the poster of the experiential learning model. Learn the process activity to finish using the experiential learning model. Share the questions. What did you do? What did we do? What do you think I would say if we were going to make a book? How do you feel about when instructions were given? What part of the making of the book was most fun? Ask the volunteers to answer the questions. Allow them 10 minutes of the discussion process. Questions. What did you learn about the group? What have you learned about? Learned alone. What did you learn about with communicating with others? What are the most challenging part of the activity? Generalized questions. What did you learn about helping your young person make a book? What did you learn about the way you prefer to learn something new? What did you learn about the learning styles other than in the room? Apply the questions. What might you do with this book? What uses could you suggest to the youth for this book? How would you learn about learning styles approach to another learning situation? How would the activity youth in this program divide the participant into groups of 4 to 5 that assign each group of the skill-a-thon station? 10-minute interval with the time needed depending on the number of the skill-a-thon station. Play with the facility with the skill-a-thon station. Processing questions during the last 2 minutes of the activity to help with the guide group. Remind facilitators to allow the participant, for example, the first experience of the activity, their own minimal assistance with the facilitators. We have just completed the activity with the teacher with the learning experience to conduct the discussion using the experiential learning model. Next, we're going to experience an entirely different activity. Also use the experiential learning model. The activity incorporates a variety of learning styles if and used often for 4-H volunteers, professional staff. Take your books with you and you use them to record notes and questions you might have to use to move it on through the stations. Use the stop watch to keep the time that you wish to give the 2 minute warning before the 10 minute time is up. Instruct the participants to take with the books and with which of them to keep the notes on activity. Keep in mind, if you were doing the activity group with the youth, you will need more time to each station to guide learners through the learning experience. Help groups find the station, monitoring the activities, and ensure that everyone is engaged as a group to rotate with the station. I would like you to think about what you have just learned. What to do when each group has been completed at all the skillathons. Instruct the participant to take a seat. Share questions. What do you do? What did you do in this workshop? What was the most fun thing about the activity? What did you observe during the activity? Tell the participant now that you're going to process the activity using the experiential learning model. Ask volunteers to answer the questions. Allow 10 to 15 minutes for the discussion process. Questions. What did you learn as a group that you might have learned alone? Not have learned alone. What do you learn with communicating with others? What is the most challenging part of the activity? How does the workshop relate to the 4-H project materials? Journalizing questions. What is one new thing you've learned and experienced? What do you learn about with experimental learning methods? What did you learn about setting the skills on applying questions? How might you help youth learn based on learning today? What advices you give someone who wants to skillthon introduce projects in the youth and parents? What will you share with others from the workshops? Show the PowerPoint slide poster 4-H skillthons. And closing, let's briefly review the important points of the skillathon. Skillathon is a participation center involved with the steps of the experiential learning model. System situational learning. Learning is facilitated. The process is facilitated. Realistic tasks are expected. Praise and recognition for learners are incorporated. Because 4-H is a non-formal education program for the youth, and your program in the different learning styles is important for the provide experience of that support of the many learning styles. Also important in intent then it's also important the initial targeting skill development and the help youth recognize and what they have learned in skillthons are one of the ways to accomplish that.